way for us to bring the magic and the richness of Africa to a younger audience.
So tell us a little bit about why you guys decided to write this book.
Sharing experiences that are so unique. It's been an incredible privilege for Derek and I to have that time out in the field, sort of 40 years. And of course, we are continuing. So it's not 40 years and that's it. And those experiences are a way for us to hopefully inspire children, to be part of the protection and conservation of the future of Africa's wildlife.
Fantastic. So this book, incredibly well written. You guys have put a lot of time and effort into this. Detail the writing process for us.
Well, interesting you say that, because we worked with Suzanne, our co-author, on this specifically, actually for the first time. We worked with anybody else, specifically because she's so great at decoding or coding what a younger audience or younger readership would like to hear. And so what we tried to do is actually design this so that young people could read it and understand it and get enthusiastic about it, but also not talking down to them, so that we could say the things we wanted to say, so that parents could read it to young people and not ultimately commit suicide as a result. And then for big people to read it on their own as well. So it was an interesting discipline, the three of us working together on this, and obviously all hinged on Beverly's photography.
Now, which is the ultimate African animal for each of you? Tell us about this.
Well, Beverly is the ultimate African animal for me, personally, but over to
you. Derek, obviously, but working... it's often about an experience, and working with leopards has been quite stimulating and very intimate, because it's a solitary animal and you have to spend the time. The luxury of the time is so important. Leopards are hard to find. They ghost-like as part of their survival in the forest. So it is a challenge. And I think between that challenge and really getting to know one particular animal, this leopard, over a 3.5-year period, absolutely seduced me, because it was a tiny little cub and we watched this little leopard grow up. And that was an immense pleasure. It was blissful. It was euphoric in every way. So I have to say leopards, and then of course leopards, having the experience with her, she really was the one that helped us understand that the big cats were in trouble in Africa. So we started the Big Cat Initiative at National Geographic 14 years ago.
For me, I think that when one looks at this, you sort of look at the whole of the mosaic of Africa as a big jigsaw puzzle, and what would you most miss if they disappeared? And I would say there are two for me, and one would be, I would really, really miss a big iconic male lion should it disappear, and it's actually very close to disappearing. And then, of course, elephants that I mold my own personal life on. But between those two, I think those are the ones those are the ultimate African animals, and those are the ones that we need to spend most time on protecting.
Fantastic. So this book, you guys have put a lot of time and effort into the book. What has been the feedback and response people have given you to this book?
Well, I think so far the feedback has been that it's sort of hitting a tone where people are saying, our kids love it, and it's colorful and it's bright and it's got all these cool facts in it, and also some surprising facts in it. And we all know that kids love dinosaurs, for example, and so there's a section on prehistoric animals in here, but also that it's very readable for adults as well.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. We are talking with two great guests today about this incredible, The Ultimate Book of African Animals, National Geographic Kids. So tell us about the Big Cat Initiative. How did this come about, and what is the mission?
Well, when we were working with this leopard that Beverly was talking about in her pick for favorite animals, we found an 8-day-old baby leopard cub and spent the next 4 years with her. And she guided us into the leopard world. And at the end of that, when we researched further, we realized that just so many leopards during that period of time, I think it was 10,000 leopards during that 4-year period of time, had been killed. Leopards just like her. And so we started the Big Cats Initiative almost to become her voice and the voice for many of these other animals that were being killed. Once we started it with National Geographic, we realized that the numbers, and we did a survey on this, the numbers were terrible. The lion numbers were crashing, the leopard numbers, tigers, everything was going down by a factor of 95% in our lifetimes. And so we knew that we needed to start something, and so we started the Big Cats Initiative as an emergency intervention to try and stop the decline in cats. And so far, it's been very effective. We've now got over 150 projects across 28 countries, 29 countries, and just one number, for instance, during this time, we think we've saved between 4,000 and 5,000 lions and many, many others. So it's all about getting the word out, and there's no better platform or megaphone for that than the National Geographic, and getting people on board so that everybody realizes that there's a problem and then gets in behind and collaborating with us.
And education is really important. But what is also very important, all the grantees in the field work very closely with communities, and many of the communities are now a grantee as well. So education is the key in protecting all wildlife in Africa.
We have got two great guests with us today talking about the Ultimate Book of African Animals from National Geographic for Kids. What has been the most fulfilling parts of your career?
Jiggy, I think that it's been the ability to reach out to kids and to bring them real stories rather than cartoons about Africa, and seeing their eyes light up and just respond to that. I think these kids are hungry for truth. They very quickly see a yarn, and I've really enjoyed the fact that these kids are just so engaged when we tell stories like this.
So through all our films, you know, if we happen to be in the cinema when a film is released, it truly is rewarding when you see that the audience gets it. They laugh in the right places. They are tearful, you know, when an animal is living a challenging life. And I think our whole goal is to illuminate wildlife in a way that is so similar to what each and every one of us go through. They have daily challenges. It's not all about only us, you know, having the challenges of what's going to happen to, or are you going to be able to, you know, afford your next meal. That's exactly what the lions and the leopards are doing. They've got to hunt for their food, and then of course if there's a climatic change or a drought, it affects them. It affects them severely. We created a film called The Last Lion, and as the kids came out of the audience, we could see that they got it. They thanked us for sharing every aspect and the challenges that lioness had to take. And, you know, often the parents would say, my gosh, we had no idea that their lives are so similar to ours. And by able to do that, and to draw people in, it is an incredible reward when it works. Another reward is when we've been able to change policies that haven't been right for the wilderness areas, for the environment. That's that is an immense award. It's not always easy to do that, and obviously with the National Geographic name, it does give us some clout to be able to do that.
Well, it is a fantastic book. You guys have put a lot of time and effort into this book. What is a typical day like when you guys are out in the field?
Well, being out in the field is very different. You really do have to get up really early in the morning, often 4:30 before there's any light, and out we go. In the one area that we've worked in the Delta, we would have to cross a major river, one of the big tunnels of the Okavango, and at times it would be incredibly deep, especially in the winter months when the flood comes in. So there were times that our vehicle would have to go partly underwater, and obviously for the driver would be a lot harder because he would have to sit with his foot on the pedal, but I would be able to climb on my seat and onto the roof, and I wouldn't get wet. So on the other side of crossing this river and keeping all our gear dry, Derek would have to dry himself off, and then we would start tracking the animals. Tracking comes in many ways. Wherever we left the animal that we were working on, or we would be looking at the sky and looking for the birds that were flying in, going towards the buffalo, and then of course the lions would be going to the buffalo, and that's really the start of the day. Then we would sit with the animals until the evening, obviously filming whatever was happening, have to do that journey all over again, start charging up all the camera batteries, making food, and getting ready for the morning.
Fantastic. Well, you guys keep up the good work with this book. I really appreciated the time and effort that you guys took to put this book together.